Hi Stampers! Last video I showed you how I do my layers for the thinlit card dies. In this video I'm actually going to show you how to save the inner portion of the circle or the labels die when you cut out your layers, so you can use the opposite side of your DSP. So here's my first example. This DSP actually, the circle is the opposite side of this portion. So if you look, this is in the this and that collection. So when I turn it over, this is the green part on the other end. Well, when we do our die cuts, everything looks like this, but I want to save the inner side in order to layer it on here. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do for the circle and for the labels. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to cut each one out to the size of your card. Now you see here mine are smaller, but that's just because I've been using scraps just for demonstration purposes. But you'll cut yours out to the size of your card, and each one will come out looking like usual. So you'll fold your card. There's your flip. And what you're going to do is lay it back down and put your die right where it belongs. And what happens here is you're placing your circle right where the circle was cut and where the lines were scored. Well, there's this little portion over here where there's a gap where nothing happened, and then there's this little portion over here where there's a gap and nothing happened. Well, all you really have to do is turn your die the other way, and you're going to finish that gap. So what you're doing is really just line up your circle and draw a line on either end. And if you have to rotate to get the other side, go ahead and do that. Rotate, draw your line. Now, before you draw your lines, you're actually going to decide whether you want this to be the front or this to be the front. So just make sure that you know which side it is, so that you know which way to put your circle. Well, actually with the circle it doesn't matter, but with the label it will matter. So once your lines are drawn, you're going to take your snips and just cut right on the line you drew. And it meets to that little cut that is originally on the die. And you do the same thing on the other side. Just cut on the line you drew. So now when you do this on your cardstock, you're going to have this face the opposite direction. And that's what I have here. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to do the labels. This is the card I did for the label. Now the card is not finished yet, but just to show you how I do this one. Here's the original cut. This side of the label die is longer than this side. So what I end up doing is I turn this upside down so that the long side now is where the short side used to be. The easiest way to do this is to make sure that on the inside of our dies, and you can see here there's like a little niche where the cut happens, this part is where your paper needs to get caught. And what I mean by that is, and I'm just going to fold this over, is if you put the paper in here, it's stuck and it won't go anywhere. So to make sure that this is even, what I do is once I turn it so that the long side is facing where the short one used to be, I make sure that this part of the paper catches in the niche on this side. So there it is. I make sure it's lined up. And what you're going to do for this one, okay, you might want to be careful because it does move. What you're going to do is start your line from the outside, and again from the outside, and then you're going to use your paper snips again and just go around where you drew your pencil marks. Just cut around those so that you can connect the two portions where they're already cut. So there's the first one. Turn my paper around only because I'm right-handed. And cut around the line that you drew. There you go. Now, this would be the card. And you would turn this around on the inside. So here's my card. Now, when you adhere this piece on the label side, you might end up with some paper showing on the back, but that's okay as long as you get the coverage for the front. You can trim the excess from the back. And that's how I did these two cards to save the inside. Oops. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.